Welcome back, everyone. It's Untitled Go, and today, since I couldn't do the stream I wanted to do yesterday, I failed horribly due to connection problems. I decided I'm just going to do a two-part video and break down these decks for you. We're going to do two in today's video and two in tomorrow's video, so stay tuned for that. In today's video, we are going to go over the Colorless Equipment deck and the Emry deck. And then tomorrow, we will go over the Colorless Black deck and the In Memory of Karn, all colorless. Let's break it down. We're only going to do 2 games each, and if it ends up coming down to a tiebreaker, then we will play the best of 3. So this is the Colorless Equipment deck. What we're trying to do is play a bunch of creatures and then equip them and kill our opponent. Pretty short, sweet to the point. Most of the decks, if not all of them, contain Forsaken Monument. I'm pretty sure they all contain at least some numbers of them. But in this one, we're playing 3. We're playing 4 copies of Solemn to tutor up the 5 planes that we have in the deck. We have 3 Maul of the Skyclaves to give our creature +2/+2 flying and first strike. We have all 4 copies of Mecha Godzilla, Crystalline Giant. So this card is pretty nuts, actually. My friend Wyatt told me to start playing it, and he hasn't been wrong. It didn't prove me wrong. Like, as soon as I started playing it, I realized how strong this card actually is. If it goes even 1 or 2 turns getting its abilities, it gets pretty out of control pretty quickly. We have 4 copies of Shambling Suit. This card gets power equal to the number of artifacts and enchantments that we control and play. So, and we're playing all 4 copies of All That Glitters too. So All That Glitters on top of a Shambling Suit is insane. Like, the card has ridiculous amounts of power. And we have 3 copies of Mirror Shield to be able to give our creatures hexproof, so that way we can avoid all that targeted removal. Playing Cliffhaven Skite Sail to give our creature flying so we can try to be more evasive. We're playing 4 copies of Gingerbrute because this card is already evasive on its own. We can just pay mana and make it unblockable. So equipping it with any of this stuff and just like increasing its power by a crap ton is going to get a lot of damage in really fast. We have 2 Shadow Spear. This is so we can gain some life, and we can also get rid of the indestructible clause on our opponent's creatures, hexproof and indestructible. It's kind of irrelevant since we don't have targeted removal, but the indestructible part is pretty good. And we're playing all 4 copies of Stonecoil Serpent so we can get the counters. It's a big reach trample creature with protection from multicolored, and when we have our Forsaken Monument in play, it gets pretty big pretty quickly. Then to break it down in the mana base, the mana bases are pretty similar to both decks, so I'm just going to go over it once. We have 2 Bonders Enclaves, draws us some cards. Crawling Barrens is a creature land. Field of Ruin destroys our opponent's non-basic lands. Labyrinth of Scophos can interact with our opponent's creatures during combat. So I guess with the Shadow Spear, it kind of does help to be able to get rid of the hexproof, but not that often will that actually come up. Then we have 4 copies of Radiant Fountain to gain us some life. I'll leave a link down in the description below for this deck and for the one that I'm going to go over in a few more games. And with that, let's take us into the arena and see if we can clock our opponents with all colorless creatures. Our opponent is on the play, and we're up against Alvin Maker. And this hand is pretty good. We have 2 creatures, so even if one gets dealt with, hopefully we can have another one to follow up with to avoid some more removal. And then we have a bunch of equipment and enchantments. I think this hand is pretty good. Up against, is it though? Probably not. Is it gonna be good? Please subscribe to my channel. I promise I'm funny. Try to be. Anyway, we're gonna get in for Uno. Pass it up. Alright, Honors Enclave. Not bad. Go ahead and play the Shadow Spear. Play the Stonecoil for 1. See if our opponent... Okay, so it went straight to damage. So I don't think our opponent has any instant speed interaction. Quite a few cheap artifacts to get into play as quickly as possible. We don't have the white, so we can't do anything about that, which kind of stinks. We'll go ahead and equip this to Gingerbrute, see if that resolves. It does not. And our opponent ended up having like the best card against us. Man, what a blowout. I don't know if we could even come back from that, to be honest. Alright, opponent bone crushes us. Pretty good. Opponent gets a Stormwing entity so they can scry 2. They get a 3/3 left behind with prowess. Ooh. Topping that white source. Still nothing to use it on though. Should have actually played the Crawling Barons first so I could have put the counters on it since I can't do anything else this turn. It's my mistake. We might not even be able to make it though because we're not drawing any creatures. Opponent draws probably a shock. Yep. Alright, so got our mana. We also have a creature finally. I think we have to play Solemn. Try to hope that it lives. And then start enchanting it with a bunch of stuff. Alright, another Sprite Dragon for our opponent. We might just be dead. Alright, Whirl Eruption for our opponent. Yep, we're just dead. It's unfortunate. On to the next one. Our opponent's on the play, and we have no enchantments but a bunch of creatures, so we're going to keep it. Up against a Urian deck. I wonder what kind. There's so many Urian decks now. Let's see, there's Jeskai, there's the token deck, there's blue-white, there's the 60-card Selesnya deck, there's the Rogues deck. There's a lot. Like, there's so many. That's kind of interesting because I think Urian is a busted card. I think it's something that it's kind of toxic for what's left of the format after the bannings. It's kind of like the most 2020 card left in standard as far as like toxicity levels and cards worth being banned. But there's so many things you can do with it. So it's not like the end of the world. It's kind of a hard deck to beat. They just have such a good long game. And there's not really anything you can do about it. So this is cool. I have no idea what our opponent's doing. Red, white, black, and blue. So this is 4 colors already. I wonder if they play the green. And I wonder if this is like a 4-color, 5-color party deck with Urian. Because that would be sick. How do we want to go about this? We can get in more aggressive with the Maul of the Skyclaves. Or we could play the Mecha Godzilla. I assume our opponent's probably playing Boar Wipes though. So... go ahead and equip it with that. We'll just get it for free, pass it up. Ooh, and it's got the nice art. The nice, super cool art. Alright, Journey to Oblivion. So this is a party deck. This is really interesting. Never thought of building the party deck with Urian. I'll have to try this. The opponent takes them all, the Skyclaves. Straight up. Not a bad call, though. Play the Godzilla. No attacks. We got Trample as our first ability. Ooh, Tazri. Interesting. Then I'll draw on our 4th land. Shadow Spear. I'll equip it to the Mecha Godzilla. See what we get. We got Hexproof. That's pretty good. That's pretty very good. So our opponent can't do anything about it as it starts accumulating the counters. Hopefully once it gets like the flying and stuff, we can just beat our opponent down. That seems pretty solid. My opponent kills the other Stone Coil Serpent. Or the Stone Coil Serpent. I think we can afford to take 4 here. Another Mecha Godzilla. Well, I guess we play it. That one gets trample. It's got the 1/1 counter now. I might as well start pressuring the opponent. I'd have to double block. Still get the trample. And yeah, it sucks that we lost the hexproof one, but okay, this other one might get it soon. Linvala for our opponent. I think this Tazari is like good but terrible. Like, why couldn't I just put it in the play or something? Why did it have to go to your hand? I mean, sure, it's draw 2 for 4, I guess, but like, how great is that, honestly? Shamelink Suit's pretty good. Let's see what we get counter-wise. I got Death Touch. Not particularly what we want. We'll play the Shambling Suit. Pass it up. We're like stuck on 4, but as soon as we get to 4, then we're solid. If we could have got Asylum down like a few turns ago, this game might have been different though. That's pretty good. Opponent buys Urian, so if we don't get hexproof on this Mecha Godzilla now, we're gonna be in a lot of trouble. Opponent has a full party. Now we're about to get hit for a lot of damage. This is a crazy, crazy build. I'm gonna have to look into this though. This seems really good. This already has trample. Put it there. Go ahead and play this for 1 finally. Well, this still doesn't have... Oh yeah, I can't actually attack anyway. I mean, our opponent's definitely just got us. Well, actually, I mean, not really, because we can block with the Stone Coil Serpent. They'd have to freeze that instead. Like Robert for our opponent. I don't know why they don't just attack. They win. Our opponent freezes a Stone Coil Serpent. They chose the Mecha Godzilla. Well, we have 1 turn. I don't know if we can do it, but 1 turn. Got Menace. I still have a chance here. Okay. It decides to sacrifice the Linvala, which is honestly fine. Now they can't freeze my Mechagodzilla anymore. And I can equip the Shadow Spear. They might have another Linvala, to be fair. I think I hold up the Ginger Brute. Sacrifice it. Not quite sure what our opponents got planned. Maybe Urian, Blink the Journey to Oblivion. Our Mechagodzilla is just like jam-packed with abilities though. So we're winning on that front. I think it's hilarious that this is an artifact that Relic Robber creates. Alright, no priest kicked. What's in their yard? They get the Linvala back? We can also get back Thundering Archmage. Kill our Stonecoil Serpent. Yep. Yeah, it sucks. Yep. Now, do I need to sacrifice my Ginger Brute? Down to 3. Another Mechagodzilla is not quite. Got lifelink twice. This has to be blocked by 2 or more creatures. Probably just gonna have to block with everything. Save the mana for the Ginger Brute still in case I need the 3 mana. This Mechagodzilla's got trample. They have to block it. Alright, so opponent didn't block correctly, I guess. Good game. Opponent's on the play, deciding whether to go first, and I can already tell I don't particularly like this hand. I mean, it's not terrible. I have a habit of not finding my lands. Generally, I'm never punished, but that only works until it doesn't. Ooh, opponent with the pretty forest. Very pretty forest. I'll take the 1 this turn. Just so I can have a bigger Stonecoil Serpent. Skews for our opponent. So this is a counters. We have the same exact sleeves. And we're playing a very, like, we've had almost the same start, essentially. That was pretty unique. Pretty funny. Let's get that path there. Then plays Eurvo, so they got a pretty aggressive start. Not looking great. Yeah, Shambling Suit, that actually helps a bit. Play that curve out a little bit. Eric's Harbinger, right? It's a good follow-up. We're gonna choose not to block. At least not this combat. Never punished. So I could play all that glitters. I think I just play the solemn. I get a body out of it. I get a land. And I have a blocker. I can jump and get a draw out of. Probably the better play. Then if I draw another land, I can play Forsaken Monument. Great Henge. Pretty good. I'm surprised it still cost them 4 mana. So we're actually gonna play it like this. Hope our opponent doesn't have any pulse. Trade with the Harbinger. I mean, now they can start pumping their skews, which is kind of annoying, but... Yep. I get to make their scavenging ooze pretty big. Hard. Cool, so we found the land. I'm actually gonna tap out like this. Play this for 2, or for 1. 3/3. Now, still can't block the Yorvo just yet. But if we can live one more turn, then we can start gaining some life back with Forsaken Monument. I think we'll be in some pretty good. They're gaining 2 a turn. We're going to be gaining more than 2, hopefully. I could block, but I'm not going to. Turn of the land. Play the Shambling Suit. Already pretty ginormous. Still gonna put this on Serpent. We're just gonna pass. We have a lot of options here. We draw, make it. We can start putting some counters on our Crawling Barons, and we can remove a creature from combat with the Labyrinth. With quite a few opportunities to do something. Another Harbinger for our opponent. Storm Shambler's decent. Guess that's to replace Pelt Collector. Opponent's scoozing it up. Let's see, so it's coming in for 6/9. Thanks. Opponent's tapped out, so we're just gonna block like that, and then we're just gonna remove the Orvo from combat. That was really bad for him, huh? There's Solemn. Gains life. Beautiful. That basic. I mean, I only have 1 basic left, so hopefully the rest of the lands that we draw are colorless. Hopefully we're not drawing any lands, but I could try to chunk our opponent down. So I'll attack for 10. Our opponent has to block very carefully here, because if I remove something from combat, then it doesn't matter if he tries to double block. So I could just kill this. Yeah, I'll kill it. So I can remove it from combat, and then all the trample damage goes through. He keeps growing with the scoos and trying to gain some life. And they give up. Good game, opponent. Welcome back, everyone. So we went 2-1 with the equipment deck, so let's try to do the same, if not better, with the blue version. So the blue version contains a lot of the same cards from the original, so I'm only going to go over the differences. In the mana base, we have Unknown Shores, so we can fix the mana a little bit better, as well as 8 islands, so we can cast our blue spells. And then the blue spells in the deck, we're playing 2 copies of Witching Well, so we can scry 2, and then we can pay 4 and sack it to draw 2. We're playing all 4 copies of Animating Fairy, because the Adventure Half lets us turn a non-creature artifact into a creature, puts 4 counters onto it, and it's got a 2/2 body for 3 with flying that helps us block against a lot of flyers in the format. Then we have 3 copies of Emry, Lurker of the Loch. This is the reason that we are playing blue in the first place. It's so that way we can reanimate our artifacts, bring them back from the graveyard. 4 copies of Midnight Clock, so we can draw 7, shuffle our graveyard back into our library against the mill deck, and it's just a nice little mana rock, and we can get it back from the graveyard with Emry. We're playing 2 copies of Soul Guide Lantern, so we can exile our opponent's graveyard or draw a card, whichever we need. We have 4 copies of Golden Egg, so we can draw cards and add the blue mana if we need to. Plus, we can get all of these back with Emry as well. And that's the deck. So let's hop back into the arena and see if we can do as good as we did as the last deck, if not better. And I have faith in this deck. I think this deck's going to be great. And her hand isn't super good. I'm going to mulligan it. This is way better. I should put back the Animating Fairy. I will just pass. I don't want to play the Stand Coil this early. We don't have to. We're up against Maze Mind Tome in red. So this is going to be that super big red deck. Hopefully not, but we'll see. We're going to play the Golden Egg, try to draw some cards, see if we can find our lands. Nope, did not find a land, but that's still not a bad draw. One more land and we can cast Emry if we need to. So I feel like in this deck we're gonna have to wait, because still didn't draw a land. Kind of sucks. Our opponent's probably playing like a lot of burn, I would imagine. Fortunately, we're drawing dead on our lands. Not looking super good. Well, as bad as it is, I'm going to play the Soul Guide Lantern to try to draw into our 3rd land. Card. Still not a land. Oh, that's really unfortunate. Okay. I know they have burn. Sure. Emry's definitely not safe. I don't think Emry's ever going to live a turn to get the effect, but we found our land. Good. Play Midnight Clock. Try to ramp a little bit, catch up. I'll actually play the Stone Coil first. If our opponent wants to play... If our opponent wants to kill it, they can, but that... we can get it back with the Emry later. Missing our land drop a few turns in a row though is definitely going to hurt us in this game. Yikes. That's pretty scary. Radiant Fountain. I'll play the Solemn. And I guess we might as well play the Emry. Our opponent's most likely going to kill it, but if it's a burn spell that could hit face, it's better to go to Emry than us. Fire Emancipation is going to kill us very fast. Like, I'm pretty sure one fireball is enough to kill us. Not fireball, but volcanic geyser. There's Chandra. Yikes. That's crazy. Good game. Woo, that deck's a lot of fun, but really hard to play against. Okay, we are on the play, and this hand is awesome. We're definitely going to keep it. Lead off on Unknown Shores. Our opponent's, like, all about the love. We're going the Smoochie's back. It's red. I'll give him the finger back. Player Stone Cold for 2. Hope our opponent doesn't have a second copy of Fervent Champion, and if they do, then them's the breaks. Our opponent attacks with the Robber of the Rich. I'm definitely going to block. Trade with it. Alright, opponent decides not to attack. Play the Midnight Clock and get an early Forsaken Monument. I think is worth it. Alright, there's Annex. They're setting up for their Embercleave turn. Still no attacks. I can actually hold up the Labyrinth of Scophos and remove the creature from combat. I might not have to this turn. Brand is equally as disgusting. Opponent still does not attack. Play another Midnight Clock. Tap the 1. Tap this for Colorless. Get down our Mecha Godzilla. I think we're in pretty good shape. Well, no attacks. If our opponent Embercleaves, we're pretty dead. Like, we're super dead. Oh, they're gonna attack with? Block like that. There it is. It might just be game. And it's shocking us too. Oh, there's the additional 10. Yep, good game, opponent. Damn! Damn! We had a good setup too. Welcome back, everyone. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. So with the first deck, we went 2-1 for a pretty good finish. With the mono blue version, not so well, but that's not to say that this deck isn't any good. It's a lot of fun, and I just had some unfortunate matchups against the mono red deck. If I didn't play the midnight clock on that last turn, I could have held up the mana for Labyrinth of Scophos, and I could have used the ability on whenever he Ember cleaved. So that was kind of my bad anyway. But regardless, it was still a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay, and if you want to try the decks out, I'll leave a link down below to my Ether Hub so you can check out both the decks. And that's it for today's video, everybody. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all the other YouTube stuff, and I'll see you next time.